Welcome to Minute Maid Park. Welcome to Miami All-Star Game. This is straight from what I think. Nobody's telling me what to say, how to say it, or anything like that. I am a guy making $30 million a year. Anybody who gives him more, you need your head examined. Dusty, get off the mound. They don't need you for crying out loud. You're a championship baseball team. You want to be part of that? We're trying to help you. And you let this ball drop. Dive! Dive! Dive!
You got to be kidding me. Finally, Chris Mad Dog Russo has come
Good to see you,
public television.
How you doing?
I am great. This is Chris Mad Dog Russo. You just saw him on MLB Network, High Heat. That's a show, but you also can check him out on SiriusXM, host of Mad Dog Unleashed on the Mad Dog Sports Channel every day from 3 to 6.
Love it. Got the radio and the TV, so I fly. I can do the TV every day at 1, same studio, run down 2 doors down, same building, and I start the radio at 3 o'clock, so it's a good scenario for me.
Chris, was this the career you envisioned?
You know, I didn't, Steve. I thought I was going to be a play-by-play guy in baseball, so I went to the winter meetings in 1982, right out of college, Rollins College in Florida, and I went to the winter meetings baseball that year, and they were in Hawaii. So I went out to Hawaii in December of '82 thinking that I was going to get a job in Major League Baseball as a play-by-play guy starting the minor leagues. And the job I ended up getting was in Jacksonville for the old Jacksonville Suns baseball team. Double-A. Tom Seaver pitched there once. You know, Henry Aaron used to play in the ballpark. So I ended up in Jacksonville in early '83. Make a long story short, I ended up on radio shortly thereafter. But I thought I was going to be the next Vin Scully. And I wasn't.
When does, timing on this, I'm trying to get this right. So you're in radio all that time.
Right.
FAN.
Right, FAN in '89.
89.
Right. I was in Jacksonville and Orlando between '83 and '87.
Trying to get to New York, dare I say?
Not necessarily, no.
Really?
I was doing talk radio. I loved Orlando, Florida. I went to Rollins, so I got the school and the job scenario right there. And then I got a job at WMCA in New York. In '87, and the guy who hired me was Rick Sklar. Sklar promoted the first Beatles concert at Shea in 1965 and put Cosell in the air. There was an ad in Broadcasting Magazine. If you talk like a New York sports fan and can deal with the New York sports teams, send tape and resume. I sent a tape and resume. They got 54 tapes. Sat there for 5 weeks. I got a phone call St. Patty's Day weekend in '87 by Sklar. They hired me, tripled my salary. Went from $18,000 to $54,000. And I came up to New York and I started working in April of 1987.
And Mike Francesa.
A year and a half later.
Mike and Mad Dog happens 2 years later.
September of '89, we began.
How many years?
19.
By the way, check out our website at steveadubato.org. We did when the Mike and the Mad Dog documentary 30 for 30 special came out on ESPN. Who do we have? We had Ted Shaker. Ted
came in here.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. I didn't know that.
We have all the important people.
No,
by the way, check out that documentary. It's great.
No, they did a good job, the 30 for 30. You know,
Personally, what did you feel like?
Anytime, first off, it's ESPN. So, you know, that adds a lot of credibility to it. Thirdly, it's an hour. And it's a radio talk show tandem. So you got a radio talk show tandem on a 30 for 30 on ESPN. I'll tell you, that was interesting. The one before us was the Celtics and the Lakers.
Loved it. Multi-part series, 3-part series, fabulous.
They did a great job. It was like 6 hours. And you're seeing promos when Bird is winning an MVP award, and right out of that, there's a promo for Mike and the Mad Dog on the next 30 for 30. That is a lift.
And you said what to yourself?
I said, my God, I must have made it. Remember, I followed the Bird Magic thing in Orlando doing sports talk in the 80s. I was doing radio down there. I love that rivalry. And here it is 20 years later, 30 years later. I'm sitting there watching the recap of that on a 30 for 30, and here's the Mike and the Mad Dog promo. So it meant a lot.
Unbelievable. So that happens for more than a few years. You make history. It's an extraordinary must-listen every day. You make the move to Sirius in 2008?
Summer of 08.
Oh, wait. How tough a decision?
It was a hard call to make because, you know, I was leaving an established show. I was leaving a guy that I had been with for 2 decades. I loved the radio station. Very, very tricky call to make. I just thought it was time to make it. Mel Karmazin, who owns Sirius, you know, I had a lot of respect for him, and I had worked for him because he had owned, obviously, Infinity. So he owned FAN, which is an Infinity station. So from that perspective, I had comfort with him. He convinced me to do it. They pay me, and listen, the money was about equal, so everybody seems to think I ran over here. No, it wasn't, because I gave up the TV simulcast with Yes. People forget that.
Yes carried it, right?
Yes carried it, and I got paid for that. No.
Separate.
Separate? That's
awesome.
a separate deal.
The idea
no TV with the Sirius.
Chris, sorry for interrupting. The idea of being able to program your entire channel. You got that channel.
For 5 years I did that, yeah. Now, I haven't done it in the last 5. That's a hard job. You know, I'm doing a show every day, and I'm also coming up with people to sort of help me along to put together a channel. That's tricky.
You were in management.
Yeah, it's hard, and I'm not a management guy. I think
Why not?
learn that. You got to hire and fire. You got to listen to a lot of tapes. You got to make some difficult decisions. I mean, I want to just do a show. Well, I tell you what I didn't realize is I did 5 hours on Sirius, and 5 hours on Sirius without that many commercials is a very, very difficult order. It's like 7 hours a day on terrestrial radio. And when I started, I didn't realize how hard that was going to be. Just to establish a show on Sirius, you got to establish a new show on a new format without commercials, local or national. That's a major assignment right there. Then you throw in the management thing, almost became too much.
What about the national thing? Going from being in New York, New Jersey, our metropolitan area, I mean, the guy with Francesa. You go to you're doing a whole national thing.
Yeah,
how did it change?
It's tricky. You have to do a different kind of show because the people who are going to listen or call me are not going to break down, you know, what Terry Collins did in the 8th inning of a June game against the Mets, of whether he should have
or Torre at the Yankees,
or Joe Torre at the time of the Yankees. They're not going to break that kind of stuff down. So you have to look for more of the big topics that can sell in Walla Walla, Washington. Now, you have a lot of New Yorkers who have Sirius. Remember, there's a lot of New Yorkers around the country who miss their local radio from New York, and so they buy Sirius, and there I am. So you got a lot of displaced New Yorkers listening, so there is almost a Northeast feel to it, but it is a trickier show to do from a national standpoint. Obviously, a lot more college football. So there's certain things you have to do. You got to learn how to do it. It's tricky, and no commercials. You got to learn how to pace the show a little differently.
Chris, was it tough? I mean, for you as a hardcore Yankee fan.
Yes. Facetiously, Steve says that.
I do. I used to, when I listen to you every day here, I'm sitting there going, Chris is a hardcore San Francisco Giant fan.
Right.
And I want you to tell everyone, and you actually, not that you don't like the Yankees, it's worse than that.
I used to hate him a lot more, but go ahead. Yeah.
It's a question of degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a hardcore. Our president, Neil Shapiro, hardcore Yankee fan. Same here. What's your problem with the Yankees?
Well, my problem with the Yankees really goes back to my father, who was a great teaser. And my father was a huge Yankee fan. DiMaggio, even Garrick when he was 8 years old, but DiMaggio and Mantle. And when the Yankees got good in the mid-'70s and won championships in 77, 78, won a pennant in 76. Reggie. I'm 15, 16 years of age. My Giants are terrible, and he's tweaking me every day on look what the Yankees did tonight. Look at this comeback against the Red Sox in 78. Look at Oscar Gamble and Jim Spencer and Thurman Munson, and I got annoyed by it. I think that's where my real Yankee hatred began.
That's it?
Oh, he drove me crazy. It's really...
You don't want to be with a winner?
No, I don't know what it was. Me, I'm a rebel when it comes to sports. So I think the fact that my father was such a Yankee fan made me go against him overall. Then I have Mike. So
Francesa.
who's like a big brother, who's as big a Yankee fan as my father used to be.
Who they had a relationship.
My father and Mike were close.
Right. Even when you guys weren't getting along, they stayed close.
Good boy. Right on. And then the Yankees win in 96, 97, 98, right in the middle of Mike and Amanda, and the Giants stick again.
And you cannot be talking about McCovey and Mays because that time passed.
Exactly
right. Who cared?
Plus, the Giants are bad for a good part of this year, and the Yankees are winning championships. So I got it at a youthful age on one hand, and then I get it from Mike when I'm in my career doing talk shows with him. So, and then I leave, and then the Giants get good, win 3 championships. So I'm not there to really have fun with it with Mike.
Chris, when you were coming up and you are now the way you were then, you're you.
Right.
Did any agent,
Oh, absolutely.
Did they say, Chris, you got to tone it down?
Oh, absolutely.
Seriously?
Oh, gosh, yeah. I had a general manager in Orlando. This is probably in '86. I had relatively successful in that market, and he wanted me to get speech lessons.
Stop.
Because he thought I talked too fast. So I actually went to the Orange County Medical Center with a speech therapist. I probably went twice a week for 6 months to see if I can get my speech and all that.
Diction?
Exactly. And, you know, I think it had some effect. I think it helped me a little bit. But as it turns out, I got to the right market because I went from Orlando. I didn't go to Orlando to, you know, the Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Or Green Bay.
Yeah, right. I went, or Chicago, a town that's Midwest, a little quieter. Right. I went Orlando to my hometown, which didn't have a problem with speed and the way I talked and pronunciations and everything else. And my lack of pronunciation, not having a good guide there, has actually helped me because it's made me more of a character, per se.
But that is
people
you.
like characters.
And by the way, when you started to do Letterman, what year did you start doing David Letterman?
My first appearance there was February of 91.
And you just were you?
I was just me, yeah. He was a big listener. He wanted to make fun of me. So he used to make fun of me.
You were the foil.
They gave Donald Duck a show, which is great opening line. So I did Dave for a long time. I did Dave for a long period of there. I love doing that.
Plug the MLB.
Oh, MLB, I love it. It's Sirius High Heat. It's MLB High Heat every day at 1 o'clock. That's the best network in the world to work for. I tell you, most networks that are owned by the owners,
right?
NFL Network, NHL Network, you name it, you have to be somewhat careful because it's an owner scenario. This, owned by the owners, they let me say what I want. Now, I don't go absolutely nuts like I would on the radio.
We saw the opening, though, Chris. You say...
There you go.
And by the way, we had Al Leiter on with us. He worked with him as well.
What a great guy.
He said the same thing.
Best place to work.
No pressure.
No pressure. They basically let you do what they want to do. And remember, editorial content for a talk show host, you know better than anybody, is everything. They got to let you be you. And the MLB Network has always let me be me, so give them all the credit in the world for that. So I do an hour show every day talking baseball, even in the wintertime, but how bad can that be?
How much, before I let you out of here, how much do you love your career and your life?
Well, remember, the thing for us, you too, you made a hobby a career. 99% of the American public is not able to make a hobby a career. I would be following sports anyway, so the fact that I've been able to do it for 30-something years as a living is a major, it's a gift from God. And so God gave me this memory. It's almost like God put me on this earth in the mid-'60s. I'm an only child. It's almost like sports is my friend. It's like my sibling. So I had this, and he gave me a memory. So you put that with the passion, and, you know, I'm 6 years old. He created a talk show host. Make a long story short.
All right, I'm not going to say where Chris Summers, sure, because people flock there, but you got to see this guy run on the boardwalk.
Oh, I love you too. Steve saw me for years on that boardwalk, running up and down. We finally got together doing a show together.
I stopped Chris. He was running because everybody's bothered. Hey, you gay mad dog. I said, Chris. He goes, yeah, what? I go, it's me, Steve Adubato. He goes, who?
No,
yeah, you did.
Did I say that? I apologize.
And I
That's
said,
a bad job.
You got to come do our show. And he goes, what show? And finally, 10 years later, that's all it took.
That's all it took. Hey, you know what?
Thanks,
great to have you with us. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
This is Chris Mad Dog Russo, every day, SiriusXM.
3 to 6 on High Heat, 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday on the MLB Network.
They let us plug it, PBS.
There you go.
That's the Mad Dog. We'll be right back right after this.
Together, we're beating cancer. Together, we're unlocking the mysteries of the brain. Together, we're changing the way healthcare is provided, delivered, and imagined. Welcome to RWJ Barnabas Health, New Jersey's most comprehensive healthcare system, with 41,000 medical professionals serving millions of people throughout New Jersey. So when it comes to your health and wellness, you're never alone. RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Also brought to you by New Jersey Resources and by the New Jersey Education Association.